issues that the constitution was not addressing, to certain concerns that the political leadership of the day was not addressing. And it began the agitation for certain amendments. For example, I don't know how many Gen Zs are here, but you may not recall, for example, the Mlolongo system of vote of election in 1988. And people said, what kind of system is this? Because then we are dealing with a kleptocracy, Kanu at that time, where, you line up for a candidate. The longer your line, the more, the easier candidates being elected. Then that was not enough. As early as 1990s, we started agitating for the fact that Kanu had declared Kenya a one-party democracy. So the agitation for repeal of Section 2A of the Constitution to usher in multi-democracy started. And again, that was an aspect of amendment. But even then, after that, we had multi-party democracy in Kenya. But they were still being suppressed because of an oppressive political regime. The clamor for multi-party democracy, kept on and on and on up to 2000, when now Kenyans wanted to write a new constitution because they felt that the old independence constitution was not serving their interest because it was not written by them. Then we went to a referendum in 2005, the Bomas constitutional draft basically. Kenyans rejected it because again, the political class had interfered with it. Then fast forward 2009, 2010, when we now came up with the 2010 constitution, everything was not perfect, and there can never be any perfect document in the world. In fact, I dare say, not even the Bible is a perfect document. Not even any religious documents are perfect. But those religious documents are the only ones we cannot amend. But a constitution of a country, laws of a country can always be amended. A clever constitutional maker or builder must always ensure there are mechanisms on how you can change that. And that's why we have Article 255 on how to amend the Constitution, 256 on parliamentary initiative, and 257 on popular initiative. It gives us the opportunity to say, okay, we have looked at these aspects of our Constitution, of our governance. Are they working for us or not? To the last speaker, I think it was Baraka. If you ask me today, we don't need the 47 counties of Kenya. In fact, we don't even need to reduce them to 8. And I hope Eric Omondi is listening and is here. We don't even need to go that route. If we were to able to empower the 1450 wards in Kenya today as units of accelerating development, because that's one of the proposals in Punguza Mizigo, where services are enjoyed at people's very doorsteps. If it is health, water, electricity, security, job opportunities at your very doorsteps, then we don't need the 47 counties, because 47 counties have now shown us that it's a devolution of corruption. But at the time we were writing the Constitution, those were the proposals. Remember, guys, the Committee of Experts reduced the levels of governance to only 2. At the Bomas process, there were 4 levels of government. There was the national government, there was the regional government, there was the district government, and there was the locational government. Again, please read the Bomas draft. You will see all those 4 levels of government. But when we at the Committee of Experts sat down to now draft the 2010 Constitution, we said, honestly, can we afford these 4 levels of government? Because we looked at the cost of it. And you will recall that if you read the final report of the Committee of Experts, we actually warned Kenyans that, well, this is your constitution. These are the views you gave us. But we are warning you, the cost of governing this country under this proposed structure is likely to be expensive. And we did one thing. Because the conversation around a new constitution had been there for a long time, it has costed lives. People died. Because of that, we felt that let's give Kenyans a constitution, but we secure certain articles in the constitution where they can have a reflection. They can reflect back and say, okay, are we happy with 47 counties? Right now, if you ask me, we don't need 47 counties. Actually, we don't even need a county. We need 47 wards. 1,450 wards to deliver services to the people of Kenya. And I want you to read Article 6 of the Constitution of Kenya, sub-Article 3, that talks about the fact that we need to devolve a national organ with all its services to each and every part of the Republic of Kenya. And that is being buttressed by Chapter 11 on devolution, more particularly Article 187 that talks about the transfer of functions between the two levels of government, national government and county government. And then that transfer must be managed under an agreement, and that's provided for in Article 189. I think I need us to demystify whether or not we have an IEBC, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Let me just explain that, and we can have this debate maybe another day. But I do not want us to be lured into the narrative, the conmanship of the current political class, where they say, because we don't have commissioners, that we don't have IEBC. That's a lie. IEBC is an institution. And the IEBC as an institution operates at two levels. When you have commissioners who are basically policymakers, then you have got the secretariat that actually runs the business of that commission. The Supreme Court decided that on the principle of necessity, an institution must operate. Whether we have commissioners right now or not, the CEO of IEBC, Marjan, can actually superintend any business of the IEBC. Because after all, it is not the commissioners that even count the votes. It is not the commissioners that actually will verify the votes on a referendum. It is the secretariat. So they want to delay the appointment of the IEBC because they want to control it. They want to pick their own bodies so that they can control the election. But what we need to do, if, for example, today Eric Omondi and succeeds in his proposals to get the 1 million signatures to amend the constitution, it does not stop Marjan and the secretariat to actually validate and verify those votes. So let's not buy into that false narrative, because that's what they want us to believe, that we cannot move on as a country because we don't have commissioners. Thank you.
So, right now, when there are elections that need to be carried out in certain constituencies, how do we go about it at the moment?
Well, like I explained to you, the Supreme Court has made a decision, and I will find you that authority and that decision. I don't know whether you recall when former governor of Nairobi, Kidero, was implicated in some corruption scandal, and there was a judge called Tunoi who had been adversely mentioned as having received a bribe from Tunoi. But the quorum at the Supreme Court requires that there at least has to be at least 5 judges. Tunoi had to sit in because Justice Ibrahim was not available, and I think one other judge, because there are 7 bench judges. So the Supreme Court made a decision that, based on the principle of necessity, Tunoi had to sit in so that they can serve the purpose of being a Supreme Court. So even if there was an election held today in Kenya, why do you need a commissioner? You need a secretariat who can mobilize, can organize the election, and they can announce. The CEO can actually announce. After all, the CEO is an ex-official member of the commission. So he's actually a commissioner in ex-official capacity. So if Kenya has to move on, okay, let me give you an example, Sheila, and everybody listening here. Today, Deputy Governor John Bararot resigned, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, in Uasin Gishu. Has that stopped the government of Uasin Gishu from being operational? It hasn't. It has not. So the county government of Uasin Gishu still continues. That is the principle. And when you are doing constitution, when you are writing constitution, there is the letter and the spirit of the constitution. Over to you.
Ah, okay. So ni kufumbwa macho, tunafumbwa macho. Wow. Okay.
Tunadanganywa. And I hope we are not buying into it.
I personally, before today, I had bought. Let me not lie. Before how you have explained that we can actually still go on with voting in our representatives without those commissioners. I did not know it was possible. I think we'll have, when we are having that discussion, I will invite you at least, because in the Punguza Mizigo, there is somewhere where we have to strengthen constitutional commissions, and I think IEBC is one of them. So when we get into that, I feel like we have everything. There's so much in this amendment bill, you guys. For those who do not have it, please email me and I'll send it to you. So without further ado, it's almost 7. Let me just go rush quickly through what I understood, and then Daktari can share more guidelines, and then we can have the speakers share their insight real quick. Alafu tumalize. So on the Punguza, yes sir. Huh?
Yeah. I wanted to make a comment.
Yes, Paul.
On this amendment, on how Daktari is thinking about this Punguza Mzigo changes, because I think I wanted to make a comment on the IEBC. And my comment...
Sheila, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Okay, please do so. Let me give you 1 minute, because we don't. 1 minute. And then you can always maliza tukimaliza kuichambua. Just please go ahead.
Yeah. So I was saying, Daktari, I think one thing that needs to be emphasized.
Wait, you were giving me the mic, or someone was supposed to speak, because somehow it went silent. Nikadhani there's a glitch.
No, I'm speaking.
Oh, there's no glitch, Dida. It's Paul speaking.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we go to the bill, then we go back to speaker mode again. We continue.
Thank you, Sheila.
Please go ahead.
I just wanted to make one quick comment on IEBC, because I feel we need to strengthen IEBC, especially on issues of technology, because going forward, technology needs to be embedded so that we increase efficiency of IEBC and also increase the level of transparency. Because
is it me or I can't hear anybody?
Well, I can hear everyone. It sounds like it's very clear from...
Yeah.
Is it Paul who's speaking? I don't know.
Yes.
It's also clear on my...
Yeah, I was saying we just need to borrow from the very successful electoral bodies